I go work like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like the way I operate.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy New Year! Happy New Year from Renault Pepe Bean, my partner, and Otis, Lil O Stevenson, my other partner. The three of us want to say Happy New Year from all of us to you. What's up, fellas?
Hey.
What up?
Everybody thawed out today.
Oh.
We had a winter storm up here in Seattle. It was, man, one night it was down into the teens.
Oh, yeah.
I said, oh boy, it's cold. Man, I had to fire up everything that could heat my house. How'd you guys make out?
Same as you.
Yeah, I was stuck in the house.
Yeah.
You guys had to drive anywhere, get out there in the snow and drive?
Yeah,
I got to the grocery store probably after the second day. I only got to the grocery store.
Yeah, I drove to work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
But Thursday came, I looked outside, and I already told my boss, I said, look, I look outside Thursday and it's snowing. I ain't coming in. And that's exactly what happened.
You told your boss, huh?
He laughed. So he said, I don't blame you.
Sir. Anything you desire, sir. Yes, Pep.
Yeah, not quite like that.
That's funny. I think I'll do that too. Oh, I appreciate the suggestion.
Oh, some water.
Yeah. Little parched over here. Monday Night Football tonight in week 17. The Scrub Bowl.
Yeah.
With the Steelers and the Browns, two scrubs.
Yep.
And, Steelers are up 10-0. I want to start off tonight paying our respects to the late John Madden, who passed away on December 28th. It was amazing to me, Pep and O, that I spent Christmas. Was it Christmas morning? They're all running together now. Or Christmas morning or Thanksgiving morning, one of the two. It was Christmas morning. Watching the documentary All Madden. It's on ESPN Plus, I guess, if you want to pay for it or if you have a subscription for ESPN Plus. Fantastic documentary on John Madden. I didn't know. I mean, I knew John Madden was a good football coach and a good broadcaster, and he came up with the All Madden team, which led to the video game Madden, which is like in the top 5 of all video games all time. It's
Right.
making trillions of dollars, not billions, trillions of dollars. And I didn't know that when you watch the documentary, you see that John Madden was an extraordinary person. He had extraordinary gifts. Like Pep, the dude coached in the NFL for 10 years.
Yeah.
He only lost 32 games in 10 years.
Amazing.
He was 103 and 32 with 7 times he kissed his sister. 7 times. 7 times. That's incredible.
It is.
In the NFL,
Yeah.
103 wins and 32 losses. In those 10 years, he only missed the playoffs twice. Won the Super Bowl in 1976 with the Oakland Raiders. And I would imagine, Pep, if social media would have been back then like it is today, the Oakland Raiders would be the most popular franchise in the NFL or probably sports.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because you remember how we loved the Oakland Raiders. They had so many characters on their team.
Yeah.
Fred Biletnikoff, Cliff Branch, Mel Blount, Jack Tatum. Man, they had so many dudes. I mean, even their kicker had half a foot.
Yeah.
And so, oh no, that wasn't their kicker. That was a Saints kicker, right?
Yeah, Tom Dempsey. But you're thinking about George Blanda. He was 50.
Yeah, George Blanda. He was their backup quarterback and their kicker.
Yeah, he's like 50 years old.
Yeah, and he was 50. Yeah, so Tom Brady's the oldest starting quarterback, but not the oldest quarterback to play. So John Madden, and then he went into the broadcast booth. He just straight up said, "I'm done coaching after 10 years." Pep, he got hired. He got hired by Al Davis. How old do you think he was when either one of you? You take a wild guess. Huh? Oh, you know, Pat?
32.
So he got the exact day.
Yeah, he was 32 years old, young, retired at 42. That's unheard of.
Right.
And then they talked him into broadcast. Pep, this is amazing to me. He taught a course at UC Berkeley on football.
Amazing.
Teaching people how to understand football, a university course. And he had a bunch of women in there. And he was like, well, you know, there are women that watch football. They don't know anything about it. So I thought it'd be good to teach a course on it. So he taught a course. Like, he would break down film, X's and O's in the class, and teach people the game of football. That's kind of amazing. And not only that, there's a picture right there, right? There's a dude in New Orleans that sold a mixture of turkey and duck and called it turducken.
Right.
He went to the restaurant and told the dude that he wanted the turducken on the Thanksgiving Day game. Right?
Yep.
So the turducken became a Thanksgiving Day tradition. And the dude that owned the restaurant would provide the turducken, and now his restaurant is blown up, and he's a millionaire.
Yep, isn't that something?
Isn't that crazy?
It is. Amazing.
And so he's like Magic. Magic Johnson is the same way, where like anything he touches, like it just turns to gold. It's got that Midas touch. And then come along with the All Madden team, where he would pick players that were gritty and grimy, and players said on the documentary that the All-Pro team and the Pro Bowl and all of that was nothing if you weren't selected to the All-Madden team.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he came up with that idea when he was broadcasting at lead color commentator, color analyst, at CBS, and then that took off. And then your generation really embraced the game, NFL Madden, which they took away the NFL and it just became Madden, right? And so Madden is synonymous with the NFL. What's up, Bill Walker Jr.? Madden is synonymous with the NFL. And what is crazy to me, Pep, is I have asked kids. I remember watching this kid play, and I'm like, man, where did you learn those moves? You know what he told me?
Oh, Madden.
Madden.
It's crazy. He said that when he went to EA to discuss Madden, it was also he wanted to use Madden as a teaching tool and also to test play. So his genius to being able to use it that way, because a lot of players, even when it comes to 2K or Madden, a lot of those guys, they would try to emulate things that they see on those video games for sure.
Isn't that crazy? Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Pep, you got any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a family member that was close to John, and I mean, literally close. My cousin drove the Madden bus for the last 20 years, he had a driver that drove him around for 23 years, and that's the guy that's featured in the documentary.
Okay.
My cousin has drove, like I said, has drove the last 20, and his family and the Madden family were very close. He'd go to his place for Christmas parties and all the holiday parties and stuff like that. And so and also when he used to visit the East Coast because he, of course, as you know, John Madden did not like to fly, so thus he had the Madden Cruiser or the Madden bus. So my cousin JJ would drive the bus, and I was living in Jersey, and he texted me and said, "Hey, come see me. I got the Cruiser." So I went up there. I brought a friend of mine too, because he was a big Raider fan, my friend, and we got on the Madden bus. He let us sit in the driver's seat. He told us stories about how John Madden likes the bus real cool because not only did he not like to fly, but he was also kind of claustrophobic. And even though the bus is, a bus is a bus. It's beautiful, it's roomy, luxury, all that, but you still can get a claustrophobic type of feel. So he would keep the bus at 60 degrees temperature, which is, it's kind of chilly, but that's the best way that can combat that claustrophobic feeling, I guess. But the bus was amazing. And I'm so happy to be able to actually get on it and sit in the driver's seat and take pictures. So I was touched. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is an awesome story, Pep. The thing that was just wild to me is that he took his whole crew on the bus to the various destinations where they would do the Sunday NFL game.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just waltzing across America. So it's not like they were in an RV, right? They're in a bus. So they stopped at hotels all along the way.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
That's quite an experience to just drive across America throughout the football season, just chilling, basically. You can do your work on the bus, stop, meet, go out, and they showed him meeting people, talking to people along the way. And he said that was the thing he loved to do most was go into the towns and meet people and find out what was going on in that town outside of the football that took place in that city.
What's so awesome for my cousin, because he drove the bus, like I said, is, he would go to all the Hall of Fame events. So you can imagine the perks of being able to meet all these Hall of Famers and actually develop relationships with them. Not just taking pictures, but actually, when you see him again, they're like, "Hey, Jay, how's it going?" That's awesome. I mean, man, what a beautiful, thing to have, happen.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we give our respects to the late, great John Madden. And of course, prayers for strength and comfort go out to his wife, his two sons, and the rest of their family and friends.
Amen.
The NFL, I thought the NFL was interesting yesterday. Way more interesting than the college football playoffs.
Right.
Yes, very.
Yeah, they had some pretty good games.
The college football playoffs were
that was laughable.
horrible.
That almost makes you want to just go back and just say, forget the college playoffs and just put the top two teams in the championship if they're gonna play like this.
Yeah, they got to revamp that thing.
that was
real.
Well, the real issue is that if you look at it, the top recruiting schools end up in the playoffs, basically. And so you have Alabama and Georgia, who have most of the top 5 recruits in the nation this year that are going to be in the bowl. And the SEC, all kids want to go to the SEC. But I think that it lends more credence to a playoff And I was listening to Michael Wilbon on Pardon the Irishman today, and he was saying that it proves that you shouldn't have a playoff. But I think it proves that you should, and give the top two seeds a first round bye. But they got to play more than just one game to win a championship.
Yeah,
they need to play at least two, should be 3 games to win it, and that changes everything.
Yeah.
Right? But if you got 1 month to prepare for one game, then the best team's going to win. I mean, the team with the most talent is going to win.
Right.
And it doesn't leave room for upsets. But if you make guys play 2 or 3 games to win a championship, anybody could do that. Anybody could pull an upset. But not in the way it is now, where you only have one game and they haven't played in a month, and you got one month to prepare for that one team. Thoughts on that, Pep Dino?
Go ahead. Oh, yeah. I got.
You want to talk first so you can think about what you want to say?
No, I just want to give you a stat real quick about between Georgia and Alabama. Out of the 170 players between Georgia and Alabama, 140 of them are 4- and 5-star recruits. I mean, so that tells you right there, how good they should be and how difficult it would be for anybody to beat those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, with the elite talent that these top tiers, mostly SC schools have, you make a point. You give, especially the superior team, over a month to be able to game plan for one team who is lesser superiority. This is the product you're going to get for the most part. That's why in between these weeks, there should be a tournament, just like you have in any other sport. It doesn't make any sense. Like college football, you only have 4 teams that can compete for a championship. No other sport has that, and it makes 0 sense. Now it's different when it's week by week once again, and you can maybe catch a team slipping like in the regular season, like a Texas A&M or such sorts against Alabama. It's hard to do that when you just go 4 weeks and then boom, you got a championship in a week. So I mean, yeah, did everybody expect Alabama and Georgia to win? Yes. Nobody wants to see though a blowout in the semifinals, 2 games before a championship. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the issue is the fact that in football you can only play once a week, so you can't have a tournament like basketball, right? Because they play multiple days during the week. In football, it's much different. You only play once a week, so you're gonna have a system where there's also timing as well, right? Because figure if you're playing into January, you're cutting into the NFL playoffs, right? And then you don't want to get so long where it cuts into Super Bowl. So you gotta find a happy medium with system where you have a certain amount of teams, like the 12 team system, whatever it is, to coincide with timing and being able to fit all those games in.
They've got 3 or 4 dead weeks before the college playoff.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They got to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, just yeah. I don't think that's too hard to figure out to me. Just either take away a regular season game, right? And then because they play a lot of powder puff games, right?
Yep.
So take away a regular season game and put a playoff game in there, and then playoff money gets distributed through conferences, and so that'll help make up for the game that they lose.
Yeah, and plus the fact that players now are as you can tell, are optioning out of playing in bowl games now. So that seems to have a lot less meaning. Now we know bowl games mean a lot of money, so I'm not saying they're going to get rid of a bunch of those.
Yeah.
But it would also, I think, with this playoff system, it would curtail a lot of players wanting to opt out because they would really want to play. I would think.
Yeah. I mean, it's risky because, as you see, the Mississippi quarterback, Matt Corral, got hurt
Definitely. He's a projected
in their
first-round
bowl
pick.
game. And so it's very risky. And so he was projected to be maybe the top quarterback picked in the draft, and now he's hurt. So we'll have to see. He decided to play. I'm sorry, Matt Corral was Bo Nix. No.
Matt Corral got hurt.
Matt Corral.
Got hurt during the game.
Yeah, it was Matt Corral. Although I do want to say, as far as bowl games go, the granddaddy of them all shined up that handle and was an absolutely fantastic game between Ohio State and Utah. And Utah jumped out to, was a 14-0 lead?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Giovanni. The Rose Bowl was lit. Looked like Utah was going to do something. Jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And then the Ohio State QB went to work. C.J. Stroud put his name at the top of the list for next year's Heisman candidates.
Absolutely.
He was 37 of 46 for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ohio State was without its top 2 receivers.
Yep.
Chris Olave and what's his name? Chris Hamilton? Is that his name? Is that the receiver?
I forget.
But anyway, they're projected to be top picks in the NFL draft. And so that was a really good game to watch all the way down to the end. And all those points were scored in regulation.
Yeah. And of course, the receiver that did play, and Jigba, caught 15 passes for 347 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
And then we saw the new phenom, Marvin Harrison,
Junior.
Ex-Indianapolis Colt, his son, namesake, Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Yep.
who also scored 3 TDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so
he's a true freshman, wasn't he?
true freshman.
Yeah.
Okay.
True freshman. And so yeah, it was good to see that game. The Rose Bowl on January 1st, New Year's Day bowl game, actually be really, really good. There was another bowl game that was really, really good too, and I've been trying to think of it all day, but I cannot remember. I watched so many bowl games stuck here in the snow.
Yeah.
Because my neighborhood, man, there's still ice out there. And it was even snowing when I came home today. So like,
Right.
I live up on this mountain.
Yeah.
It's snowing up here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Pep,
Yes, sir.
let's hit that NFL Pep Talk and we'll catch you on the other side if we don't finish, all right?
All right. Well, as you say, let's get right to it. The big story from Sunday, of course, was Antonio Brown. Brown completely lost it on the sideline, ripping off his uniform, taking his undershirt, tossing it into the stands, and prancing off into the tunnel to the locker room, all before halftime. What did you guys think when you first saw that?
And very unselfish of Antonio, but also not surprised because who we're talking about with Antonio Brown. Those are my first 2 thoughts. It wasn't really surprising, but then we heard different things. So, but yeah, that's what my first thoughts were.
Gee.
My first thought was that's Antonio being Antonio. That's my first thought. And I'm like, there he goes, tripping again. And so, hey, that's all I thought.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching a ball game, and of course, I think I was watching Red Zone, and they cut in and they show Antonio, they didn't even know what was going on themselves. So they just show Antonio, and everybody's seen the video 100 times by now of him taking off his shirt and prancing off. So everybody, including yours, mine, those initial thoughts was he's off his meds, and this is it for him. He's done, and then of course, throughout the day on Facebook, people are asking, well, does he have CTE and whatnot? Look, we're not doctors. We can't diagnose or say that's going to be the case, of course.
Well, you can't diagnose CTE till after a person's dead.
Yeah. And so, he may indeed have some of that. And of course, maybe he does need help and serious help with that. But, there are many different angles and instances of this story that have come out. Speculations of an incentive hold, from the Bucs came to light quite early. They were showing graphics of if he made this amount of catches, he'd get this amount of money. And it added up to about $1 million. And people were saying, well, the Bucs are trying to hold him from getting his money, which is ridiculous. Because number one, Antonio Brown himself got 3-game suspension for violating COVID protocol. So if he was going to get those incentives, he would have got those, probably he could have gotten some of those in those games. And plus, there's still a game to be played next week. So there was plenty of opportunity to get those incentives. So I dismiss that. And so, and excuse me. So, and the fact that, like I said, he still had a game left, even if he didn't play in 3 games. And so, but my question is, what was the tone of the conversation that he had with the coaches? And what I'm saying is, the coaches, guys, you play sports, they tell you to go in, right? And he says, well, my ankles hurt. I'm not feeling healthy, so I can't go in. But they dismissed that and told him, go out and get in there or be gone, pretty much, right? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm just speculating. I'm not saying that I know exactly what happened, but I'm just reading other reports saying that the coaches told him to go in. He refused to go in twice. And so then they said, well, get out of here. You're gone. So that's not necessarily a mental thing if you get upset and get mad because the coaches tell you to get out of there. So he's going to act out like a lot of us would. So, honestly, when somebody tells you something you don't like, or if you're not being listened to.
Yeah.
But I think we got to take a break, bro. So
we got to take a break, and we're going to get right back to it on the other side of the break. I've got some insider information to share about this on the other side of the break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to and watching LidLine Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, and listening on all of our podcast platforms. Thanks, Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play Rainier Avenue Radio, and you got it. Peace. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
I go to work like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like the way I operate. I make miracles.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not busy tearing the roof off the suckers, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Here's the bad news. You can catch the flu and COVID at the same time.
At the same time?
But the good news, you can get vaccinated against COVID and flu at the same time.
At the same time?
It's safe, convenient, and a wonderful way to protect yourself and everyone you care about. We're stronger when we're all protected. Visit vaccines.gov to find COVID and flu vaccines near you.
Hi, it's your favorite Rainier Avenue radio host from the Clean Greens Living Live show. It's Queen Bree
and Robin T.
Our show is live every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with topics ranging from life from the farm, health and wellness, and race and social justice.
We feature guests each week with expertise in activism, entrepreneurship, healing, and food justice.
So come join your girls live every Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Clean Greens Living Live Show. You can even call in and be a part of the show. See you then.
This is a Rainier Avenue Radio.world community update on free, unlimited family streaming services that you can access with your King County Library card. Enjoy quality educational content on Canopy.com like Sesame Street, Arthur, and Language Learning. Unlimited access will be available for the next 30 days at kcls.kanopy.com. That's kcls.canopy.com.
Yo, what's good? It's D-Money, and you should definitely check out Fresh Juice every Wednesday, 9 to 11 Pacific, right on Rainier Avenue Radio.
With pint-sized Patron, P-Treasy the Don, y'all be sure to clean your mirrors as we play brand new hip-hop and R&B from locals and worldwide.
It's ID Yourself, a.k.a. Malcolm Flex. Make sure you check out Fresh Juice every Wednesday, Pacific Standard Time from 9 to 11 p.m.
And to get those exclusive interviews that we be doing.
Sipping a brand new fresh juice every single week.
Every Wednesday, 9 to 11, Rainier Avenue Radio. Yeah.
Dealing with COVID-19 is uncharted territory, and everyone has different challenges. People may feel anxious, down, or overwhelmed. For some, these feelings can lead to changes in sleep patterns, an increased use of alcohol or drugs, or withdrawing from the people around them. If you know someone who's having a hard time coping, you can help by reaching out to talk and listen. To learn more about how you can help someone in need, call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK. Brought to you by the state of Washington.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Check us out on social media. Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and on Twitter at Rainier Av Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome back to LidLine Sports. We're also on Twitter now, so you can tweet us. LidLine Sports Live on Twitter. Shout out to Andrew Schroeder, Jets fans. And his son, so that's plural fans. They're Jets fans, Andrew and his son. Well, I know you was there. I saw the post. He was there yesterday at the fiasco against Tampa Bay. And Andrew, I know you were there because up until Cyril Grayson caught the touchdown, I was about to post that the Jets need to give you season tickets because every time you show up, they win. At least this season, but that was not the case. Pep and Lil O, y'all still there? There you are. I want to just talk about what you talked about, Pep, real quick and expound on that before we get to you, O, and the NBA. A lot to talk about in the NBA.
Yes.
So we don't want to miss that. But I got inside information. Awesome. And I don't understand why – like Ian Rappaport is a legit reporter.
Right. And
he reported this whole thing about Antonio Bryant not wanting to go back in the game because he had injured his ankle.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right.
So that sounded real fishy to me. Like, who does that? Like, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of a player saying, I don't want to go back into the game. I've heard of team doctors keeping dudes out of the game, right? And I'm looking right now at the Tampa Bay injury report prior to the Jets game. Antonio Brown is not listed on there. There's nothing about his ankle on the injury report. So when did the ankle get hurt so bad that he couldn't play?
Right.
And it didn't look bad when he was prancing off the field.
True.
Right? So that sounds like a made-up story to me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And to get sympathy from people now to deflect and put it back on the organization. Now, you know me, I've been hard on the NFL. But I want to be fair. All right? And to put it on back on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and saying that Bruce Arians wanted him to go back in the game. Now, here's another insider report. I cannot reveal my sources.
Okay.
But it's been said that the coach told Antonio Brown to go back in the game. And he said he wasn't going back in the game. And it was because he felt some type of way. Matter of fact, here's the quote that Bruce Arians said, let me get you back in the game so you can get paid, so we can get you paid. Right?
Right.
So let me say this. What is Bruce Arians known for being?
Players coach.
A players coach.
Players coach.
Right?
Yes.
Let's get you back in the game so we can get you paid. All right? Says that Antonio Brown did not want to go back in the game because he was mad that Brady was targeting Gronk. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he got mad about it. And when Brady went to go check on him and ask him, was he good? Brown replied, and I quote, I see you only giving it to your boy out there. And Brady said, don't start that right now.
Now that dialogue
that sounds legit.
That could definitely very well be true. It all sounds just like each person that you said.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they said, if you don't want to go back in the game, just go to the locker room. And that's when he went through his antics. And I'll put it like this, and I'll end it like this. I was watching Part of the Interruption, Mike Wilbon, and what's the other guy's name? Somebody help me.
Oh, man.
I can't think of his name right now. But he said this. He said, number one, Hall of Fame coach Mike Tomlin said these words, Antonio Brown is no longer with our team. Bill Belichick, the GOAT of coaches, said these words, Antonio Brown is no longer with our team. And now Bruce Arians, a Super Bowl winning coach, says the same words, Antonio Brown is no longer with our team. Where does the problem lie with Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
And all this stuff about him, his antics look like he has mental health problems. But Pep, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just spoiled.
I don't see mental health problems. I just see a really big prima donna. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, maybe he's just spoiled. And maybe he's done all these things and people keep giving him chances, and so they get crazier and crazier.
I think this
is
the
thing about it is with him and his history, and he does something like this, that's the first thing people are going to look to is mental health issue. Whether it is or it isn't, it's going to be perceived to be that way because of his history. So his outburst hurts him in more ways than just one. Yeah, we could all speculate what the issue is, but the main thing is people are going to say is this guy has mental issues. And what's that? And what will that do? Well, that will probably prohibit him from getting another job in the NFL, I would think.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's made bad decisions, but in his mind, he's kept getting NFL jobs. So in his mind, he's probably like, hey, somebody's going to pick me up.
Yeah.
Right.
This ain't no thing.
But, any playoff-worthy team
Well, we know that. We know that. I'm just talking about his mindset.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
His mindset is, I keep getting away with this, and people keep hiring me.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
So where's that going to end?
Right.
But this isn't the first time we've necessarily seen a story, maybe to this extent, and maybe with the media and social media being as big as ever. But this just looks like your story of the small town kid who makes it big and
he's from Miami.
Remember to remain humble. What was that?
I thought he was from Miami.
I mean, I think he's from lower power. I think he's from the
Miami suburb.
Yes,
Okay.
And then on top of that, coming from a small school in Central Michigan
Right, Central Michigan.
Yeah,
Yep.
to now being thrusted on this platform and trusting his work, but not, I think, remember of staying the course of remaining humble and understood the course it took for you to get to where you are at now. And I think that's just what we're seeing here. With the antics that we see from Antonio Brown, it's just really hard for me, and not because it's not an excuse. Mental illness is not an excuse, but it's hard for me to put that light on him because there are people who really do have mental illness. I just don't see that with him. I just think he's really full of himself.
You brought a good point because you know what? He sounds like a brat.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Is he just spoiled?
Yeah. Well, I just got one more thing to say. Antonio Brown was my receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which everybody here knows that my team that I've been cheering for since 1972, regardless. But he was my guy for 9 years, and at his peak, he was the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, we had the debate, remember?
And that's no debate. So, I just wish him the best. Whatever happens to him, I because he still got a place in my heart because he was a Steeler. So, I just wanted to get it out. That's all.
Nancy Conyers, you are correct. Mental illness is real, and it's not just in sports; it's in all walk of life.
Absolutely.
And my issue is, I don't know if this is a mental health issue with Antonio Brown.
Right.
It very well could be, but it also could be an enabling of a spoiled kid who's got millions of dollars and can just do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. Just like yesterday, he took off his all of his clothes down to his waist and paraded around the football field, and then went into the locker room and then released a rap song.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
It's really hard to put it in that light. Like,
you know what I'm saying? And so
those things.
And so, I mean, it's a lot of stuff he does is too calculated to be mental illness, to me. And so, I don't know. And if he has mental illness, I'll say like I think it was Kevin Perron in the LidLine Sports group said he should do like Brandon Marshall, former wide receiver, Denver Broncos, who had mental health issues and was about to ruin his career, but then he went and got help. And now he is a very, very upstanding citizen and a broadcaster.
Yeah.
Had a little stint with the Seattle Seahawks at the end of his career.
Yep.
So enough of Antonio Brown. If he does have mental illness, it's up to him also to seek help.
Absolutely.
And if he doesn't want to seek help, then he deserves to get what he gets. All right. To the NBA.
Yeah, whatever was in the water that was pissing players off, we got around this weekend. Also have a similar case with the player who kind of has been in similar trouble as Antonio Brown, maybe not as much, but we had an incident on Sunday in Houston. The Houston Rockets were playing the Denver Nuggets. And they were down by 20 at halftime. I was actually watching a little bit of the second quarter, and the effort was terrible. Coaches went in locker room and ripped those guys apart, and it sounds like most notably a lot of it was to Christian Woods and Kevin Porter Jr. And Kevin Porter Jr. Must have said enough was enough, and he spat back at assistant coach John Lucas. And they got into a disagreement that was very animated, and reports were said that things were thrown by Kevin Porter Jr., and then he took it upon himself to leave the locker room and the arena at halftime of a game that they were already down 20. And then also Christian Wood pretty much at halftime refused to want to go back in the second half of the game. Mind you, this was also spewing between Christian Woods because he missed a mandatory COVID test, which caused the team to get on the court late for shoot-around. So he was benched to start that game. Played 8 minutes, didn't get a shot up. And so it led to both those guys being suspended for today's game against the 76ers, which they also lost by close to 20 points. And, it was very disheartening to hear about Kevin Porter Jr., him being Seattle's own. Also, a lot of us knows the road that he has been down to get to where he's at now. We also know about him getting traded from Cleveland for having temper issues, and to also see him get into it with a coach who I think we all know his track record of wanting to help young players, and was Kevin Porter was brought to Houston for John Lucas to mentor him, and it was just very disheartening to hear that. The head coach of the Houston Rockets did say that Kevin Porter was apologetic. He's accepted his suspension, and so has Christian Woods. What is there a small room for error with Kevin Porter wanting to be in the NBA and staying in the NBA?
I don't know. I think that Kevin Porter is another kind of like Antonio Bryant too, where he's had success real fast, and he knows he's good, and you have to be and you have to remain coachable. And I talk to my kids about that a lot. You have to remain coachable. And what happens is when you get put into a losing situation, and Kevin has been in a losing situation basically since he left Rainier Beach.
Yep.
USC wasn't very good. Cleveland's not very good, wasn't very good, and Houston's terrible. And so when you get in that situation, I found out that young dudes really think they know more than the coach. And they think they know how to win because they won before. And I've had these discussions with players. And I've had players go off of me and cuss me out. Right? And I've had players throw tantrums and tear up locker rooms. So
what's your punishment for things like that, G?
I think I said this on another show. Let me repeat it. It's my favorite John Woodenism. My best teaching tool is the bench. They're not going to play.
Yeah.
So you can do what you want to do. If you want to play, you got to do it my way. Right? And if you want to quit, quit.
Yeah.
Somebody else will take your spot.
Yeah.
But we're not doing it your way, and we're not having these tantrums. That's just the way it is. I mean, they're professionals. They're getting paid millions of dollars. So I would hate to see anybody forfeit that opportunity. But as a coach, on the other side of it is you got to do what the team does, and you got to do what the coach does. It doesn't work any other way. And you got to be held accountable, and you got to be coachable.
Yep. Hey, I can't add anything to that because that's eloquently put and perfect. So, good job, G.
Yeah, well, it's the way it is. I hope Kevin Porter. Like I said, I love Kevin Porter. I've always liked him as a kid, as a player. He was always polite to me when I coached against him, and I wish the best for him. And so I just hope he will have somebody in his inner circle that will listen to him and that he matures. He just needs to mature.
Because the talent isn't the question.
Not at all.
On to some nice silver lining after a really long December in the NBA. We are about to see some two high-quality players return to action. One, Klay Thompson. It's finally, they have a return date set for this Sunday. With the Golden State Warriors returning back from a 2-game stint. They will play the Cleveland Cavaliers at home on Sunday. And it is looking like Klay Thompson, after almost 2 years, will finally suit back up and be on an NBA court again. For everybody who does not remember Klay Thompson, tore his ACL in Game 6 of the 2019 finals, which we saw Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors win that. And then followed that next summer, working out, he tore his Achilles. We see when you mess up one thing, it can lead to many other injuries, especially when it comes to that knee. It is going to be glad to see one of the best shooters to ever play this game being next to the best shooter to play this game. As much as anybody can hate how much the Warriors win, those two are always fun to watch. So please set your DVRs or be in front of a TV if you got League Pass and be ready to watch Klay Thompson hopefully this Sunday. And then that follows by
Glad to see play back. It's a long road back.
Yes, sir, definitely.
How long do you think it'll take him to get back to acclimating and get back to the Klay Thompson that we know?
Well, that's a good question. Klay Thompson has always stayed in good condition. And then I think with Watt, I think you'll see it sooner than later, just because of his style of play. He's a jump shooter. That's pretty much, I'm sure, all he's been doing over the last 2 years. He wasn't a really big athlete. Now, what I am concerned about is defensively. He was one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
How will he move laterally, quickness, all that stuff? That is what I am going to be interested to see on the other end. Offensively, I don't think it'll take too long to see those spurts of Klay Thompson making 3-4 threes in a row. I don't think it'll take that long.
Okay, good.
Now, the other guy who's about to make his return, his story is a little different. Mr. Kyrie Irving looks like he'll have a date set for actually this Wednesday. The Brooklyn Nets' only road game this week against the Indiana Pacers. He is the one who is not vaccinated, living and playing in a state where being vaccinated is mandated to be inside of public arenas. So after the Brooklyn Nets have lost 7 to 8 bodies to COVID, they decided to call Mr. Irving up. And after going into COVID protocols right after that, it looks like he'll be ready to play. That'll be pretty interesting to see how quick the Brooklyn Nets can gel with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. Also with him just playing away games this year. That'll be really interesting, especially once the playoffs come around and see if maybe Kyrie will change his mind by then. But for now, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the season, he will be only playing regular season. He will be only playing away games. And then quick NBA news. Rajon Rondo was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the Lakers, they wanted to shore up a roster spot as they had guys like Stanley Johnson, who was playing really solid on his 10-day contract. It just expired, and it looks like they're trying to retain him. And on the other end, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been surprised at the NBA season. They're already without Colin Sexton for the year. Darius Garland went into COVID protocols. Rajon Rondo will provide depth at the point guard position while trying to keep the Cleveland Cavaliers afloat. I think they're a top team in the East right now.
Rubio tore his ACL, right?
Yes, and Ricky Rubio tore his ACL. Yes. So win-win for both of those teams. Power rankings, not much change, but I did hear UG. Chicago Bulls made their way back in my top 5. We got the Warriors sitting in
DeMar DeRozan, MVP.
First player to hit 2-game winners back-to-back in a row. Warriors, though, stay in the top 28-8. A good win against the Utah Jazz on Sunday or Saturday. I watched that game in Utah. Phoenix Suns, 28-8, dealing with some COVID issues right now, staying afloat as well. Chicago Bulls at number 3, 24-10, getting their roster, getting healthy again. The Utah Jazz staying consistent on 26-10, and the Milwaukee Bucks also getting healthy at 25-13. They round out my top 5.
Yeah, the Bulls, they got a dynamic duo that's turning into a big 3 with Vucevic.
Number 1 in the East right now.
Yeah, I told you they're on the come up.
Yeah.
I had a chance to watch 2 Laker games,
What was your thought?
You know what their problem is?
Uh-huh.
Number 1 problem is Russell Westbrook just, he's a turnover machine.
You got to have a ball.
Ron's a turnover machine. So between the 2 of them, it's just like holding down the turnovers at McDonald's.
If you're a Lakers fan, you have to have a bottle of Tylenol next to you watching Russell Westbrook play. It's really a headache.
And when they get up big, they start clowning.
Yep.
And taking bad shots and let the other team back in the game. That's how they've lost all those games where they had big leads, because they just start clowning instead of putting them away. Anyway, I just want to share that with you. The Seattle Seahawks won their last home game of the year. Pep's favorite player, Rashad Penny, ran through the Detroit Lions like they were Nevada Wolfpack in the Mountain West League College. He had 25 carries for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. And so we talked about the litmus test being this coming Sunday at Arizona. If he could put up a big game against a good team, we might have something.
Right.
Interesting to me that they've been running the ball well behind third-string linemen, Mike Kern at left tackle, and I believe what's the other guy's name? Philip Haynes.
Haynes.
Yeah. And so that's interesting to me. Like, is it because they're fresh, or is it because they didn't evaluate their talent very well and have those two guys backing up the guys that couldn't block? Because I haven't seen so many holes for running backs to run through in a long time, or it might have just been the Detroit Lions. Because the Seahawks look hella good against Jacksonville and Detroit.
Fine line there. Fine line.
Now they're all giddy. They're talking about they turned the corner. And they put up 51 against Detroit, so now everything's good. So we'll see.
Yeah, and the Cardinals are motivated because they want to win. They want to win the division.
Oh, the Cardinals?
Yeah, they're motivated.
Absolutely. That's why I said that's why it's the litmus test, because Cardinals are going to be playing for real.
For real.
And so if they go down there and whoop up on the Cardinals, I'll say, okay, we got something to look forward next season.
Right.
But if they go down there and go 3 and out 8 times, and we know that this is just the same old, same old.
Same old.
They can't beat upper echelon teams. Well, San Francisco's not an upper echelon team, but they can't beat upper echelon teams.
Right.
If they can't win Sunday. It would be good for them to go out with the win. That's our time for tonight. Thank you so much, Daniel, our engineer. Thank you, Otis Lil O Stevenson. Great as always. Renault Pepe Bean. Very eloquent as usual. Good job. Thank you all, everybody that joined in on the chat. If I didn't mention your name, you know we love you. We thank you for tuning in every week. We'll be back next week for more great sports talk on LidLine Sports. Sports as we see it from
just below our lid.
Holla. Don't forget our podcast. Wherever you hear podcasts.
Like a doctor when I rock